Welcome back. You're going to need a blanket for this practice today. We're going to start out sitting up on it. Actually, you can sit up on a blanket, a folded blanket, or you can sit in a chair for this beginning section. It's up to you. Either will work. If you're sitting on the floor, sit on the blanket, but on the edge of it, on the front edge of it, so that your knees and thighs drop downward. Your hips are elevated. We're going to roll the shoulders a couple times. And let the shoulders drop back and down. And if you're sitting in a chair, just make sure your feet are flat on the floor. So you might need to scoot to the front edge of the chair. We're going to come back to shoulder circles, which you'll remember from part 1 of the video series. So touch the fingertips to the tops of the shoulders, send the elbows out, and start to circle around. You can spiral out to bigger circles as your mobility increases. But these circles don't need to be huge by any means. Make sure that you feel your neck releasing. We don't want to build tension in the neck. Let it out with these circles. Go in the opposite direction. And then you can move them as diagonal pairs, like you're swimming. And then do that the other way. And then a couple times just work to bring the elbows in. Bringing them towards the midline, maybe eventually to touch. And then do that in the opposite direction. Now you can release your arms down. Pull the shoulders up towards your ears, back slightly, and then drop them down. We're going to do it 2 more times, but with our breath. So inhale, elevate the shoulders, pull them back, and exhale, let them shrug down. Inhale, inhale more, exhale. Good job. All right, we're gonna work with the hands a little bit here. So take one arm forward, flip your wrist so your palm is facing up. We're gonna pull the fingers down towards the floor so the wrist is flexed. And use the other hand to pull the fingers and the thumb back. We wanna take the elbow out slightly so it's not like this, collapsing in on ourselves. We wanna open up. You're using the other hand to pull the fingers back and create a stretch to the forearm and the wrist. If there's carpal tunnel or arthritis going on, this can be super intense. It's going to be intense probably for most of us because we spend so much time in this position, whether it's holding a smartphone or reins or a pitchfork or a steering wheel. So we're really asking the body to move in a way that it's not used to moving. So it can be really intense. Go ahead and take it over to the other side. Flip the other wrist, pull the fingers and the thumb back gently. You don't need to like yank on your hand. Just give it a little stretch. Take a deep breath. Make sure the elbow's going out. And then release the hands. Again, you can roll the shoulders. And then we'll work a little more with dexterity in the hands and the fingers. So you're going to turn your palms to face up again and bring your thumb to the tip of your pinky. Bring the tip of the thumb and the tip of the pinky together. Extend the other 3 fingers out. And then move to thumb and ring finger and extend the other 3. Thumb and middle finger. Thumb and index finger. Go back through again. Thumb and pinky. Ring finger. Middle finger, index finger. Then bring all the fingers to the thumb except the pinky. Extend the pinkies out. Then make a fist with the thumbs on the inside of the hands. Give the thumbs a little squeeze with the other 4 fingers. And then take the thumbs on the outside of the fist. Give the fingers a little squeeze with the thumbs. Next up, we'll interlace the fingers to the outside of the hands and send the palms forward. Open up the pocket of the thumb, the webbing of the thumb. And then we're going to stretch the arms up overhead. Keep looking forward. Don't look down. We're not practicing this. We do that enough when we clean the stalls. Lift the chest and reach up towards the sky. So the palms are facing skyward. Then you're going to bend your elbows, bring the backs of the hands to the crown of your head. Elbows are bent, they're going out to their own sides. And you're going to do a little circle. It's like a little roof over your head, but it's moving. And then go in the opposite direction. And you can stop in the middle. Give it one more press up towards the sky. Your chest, your lungs, your rib cage move slightly forward. The legs stay releasing down. And then let your arms come down. We're going to move into a child's pose. So go ahead and take your blanket or your chair out of the way for now. Although you might find a blanket under your forehead in this pose can be helpful. Come down to the floor to hands and knees and point the toes back. And bring the big toes together to touch. We're going to separate the knees wide, so they're wider than the outer hips, and then bring your sitting bones back towards your heels. Now, if there's a lot of tension in the sacral plate, in the pelvis, and the lower back, you might be more here. This might be as far as you can go, and that's okay for now. You're going to stretch your arms out and let your forehead come to the floor. And if it doesn't, it's a good time to grab the blanket. You might have to bunch it up a little bit and stick the blanket under your forehead. Let the hips drop back and down as much as they'll go. The chest and the face reach forward and down. You can wiggle a little bit from side to side here, but as you do that, don't let your hips come further forward. Try to stay back as you wiggle side to side. Notice what you feel happening in the hips, in the lower back, in the shoulders. This pose can be pretty intense. It can also be very relaxing at times too. Let yourself release down into the position. So there's nothing more that you need to do. Just let yourself relax into it. Let the position you've put your body in do the work. Releasing tension in the muscles. Making more space in the joints. And then start to look forward. And I want you to use your legs to lift up here. So you're not going to yank yourself forward with your arms. You're going to press your feet and your shins down and then walk your hands in to come to a tabletop position. So that means you'll separate the big toes, point them straight back. Your shins are parallel to one another. The knees are under the hips and the wrists are under the shoulders. We're going to go through cat-cow here. So we'll be dropping our tailbone to round our back and release the head and neck. And then we'll be moving the pubic bone back. The pubic bone's in front and it reaches through the thighs as the sternum moves forward. So it's exhale, round the back. Inhale, stretch forward and back at the same time. Keep going, and if this is new to you, go nice and slow. If you're familiar with it, you can move it a little bit faster. Just make sure to keep your body organized. So the feet stay back, the shins parallel to one another. And we're really working on mobilizing the pelvis, which can get really stuck when we're spending long hours standing or sitting. We lose mobility in the pelvis. Or maybe we're staying in the same position for a long time, especially if you're a farrier, a vet. And certainly if you spend a lot of time cleaning up around the barn. Keep going. Inhale, sternum stretches forward. Exhale, you release your head all the way. And then you just start to move it a little bit faster when you feel really comfortable with it. Last 3, 2, and 1. Finish looking forward. Press the tops of the feet down into the floor. Feel like you're sticking your butt out, so it's not a tuck of the butt. You're reaching your hips back. And we're going to unplug our right hand. Let me turn towards you though, so you can see a habit that a lot of us have here. So when I ask people to lift the hand, often their hips get thrown out to one side, and so they get really crooked in their body. That just promotes more imbalance in the body. So I want you to stay plugged in at your feet and at your left hand, and just slowly move your right hand to take it on top of your butt. So I have the back of my hand on my butt. My right elbow is out to its own side. It's not up here, it's not down here. It's going straight out to the side. Keep using your feet, pressing them down along with the fronts of the ankles and the shins. You're looking forward the whole time here. And then plug the right palm back in, and we'll try it on the other side. So again, watch for the hips shifting to one side or the other. Unplug the left palm, but keep the feet and the right palm pressing down. Elbow goes straight out to the side. You're looking forward and you're still sticking your butt out behind you slightly. Lower the left palm to the floor. We're going to stretch the legs back one at a time. So you can tuck the right toes under as you stretch back with the right leg, go forward with the chest. So it's not all back here. You're also moving forward, a true stretch. And then switch sides. Tuck the left toes, go forward with the chest. Your heel should be about over the ball of your foot instead of back here or too far forward. Lower that knee down. Now we're going to unplug the right palm and put the hand on our butt here. The next step is to take the arm forward, palm facing up, thumb on top, or palm facing in, thumb on top. And then you can try to extend the opposite leg, the left leg back. Do this slowly. And if you feel a lot of wobbling going on, plug back in, reevaluate, try it again. Stay in the middle. So you're going to stay in your right leg and your left hand, and you're going to stretch longer from right hand to left, but you're still looking forward. Come on down and try it on the opposite side. So start off placing your left hand, the back of your left hand on your butt, looking forward. Then extend the arm forward, palm in, thumb up. Plug the left leg in more, the right hand in more, and then extend the leg out. Pull yourself in opposite directions. The wrist goes further forward, the ankle further back. You get more length in the pose. And then palm down and shin down. You can return back to your child's pose. Sitting bones back, knees wide, big toes touch. Fold over yourself. Remember, a blanket or even a yoga block under your forehead can be really helpful here, so that you don't feel like you're ungrounded and falling forward in the pose. We're going to take our child's pose over to the side. Let me turn so you have a better view of what I'm doing. We're going to walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. So just like in the last pose, we're not going to sacrifice the hips and throw them over to one side just because we want to move the hands. You're going to keep your hips back and walk your hands over to the right. Keep the hands shoulders width distance apart. You don't need to go super far to the right. Just go a little bit. See if you can look forward between the hands. And then walk back to the middle. Same thing to the other side. Don't throw your hips away as you walk your hands to the left. Look between the hands. Feel the big opening in the right side of the rib cage. And come back to the middle. We're going to do each side a second time. Walk out to the right. Open up the left side rib cage. Even feel like you're breathing more from your left lung. It has more space right now. You are breathing more. And then walk it through center, out to the left. And breathe more into the right side, right lung, right rib cage. Bring the hands forward. Use your legs to come up. Your legs push you forward to rise up. Gather your knees under you so you come back to a neutral position. It's not knees together, but it's knees under the hips and shins parallel to one another. Tuck your toes under, take your butt back to your heels. In part 1 of the video, you had the option to do downward facing dog on a chair or on the floor. Same option here. I'm just going to demo it on the floor, but you're welcome to do it on a chair, a bench, a counter, whatever again. So your butt's back to your heels. Your belly's on your thighs. You're gonna unfold your legs, look between your thumbs or even slightly further forward. Your belly stays on your thighs, the heels are elevated. Feel the sitting bones rising up. And then we're gonna transition from downward facing dog to a forward fold. So start to walk the feet in. The knees are gonna bend more. The hands walk back. Let your head hang over. So you no longer need to look forward. You're bending your legs and folding over yourself. You can shake your head loose a little bit here. Just tiny motions, shaking your head yes and no. Make sure feet are hips width distance apart here. And we're going to come up to standing in a moment. So bring your hands just a little farther out in front of you. Bend your knees a bit more so you can lift your face and look forward without any pinching in your neck. Drop your butt enough that you don't feel that pinching, but not all the way down to the floor. So the hips stay back, hands come to the hips. Move forward with your chest to rise all the way up here. Whew, take a big breath. It can be really intense. I'm going to move my camera up so that you can see what's going on in my upper body here. Take your arms out to the sides and just spin them a few times in each direction. And then bring your hands to your hip crease. So you're going to place the pinky side of your hands right in the hip crease so that when you bend your knees and take your hips back, the pinkies move back with the hips. Now shift your weight forward. And to come up to stand, send your chest forward to rise up. So it's not a tuck of your butt to get up. You're going forward and folding yourself at your hips like a piece of paper. We're going to do that a few times so you'll get to practice it. Bend your knees. They go forward, hips go back. You're looking out and rise up. Fold and unfold yourself. Keep the knees bent the whole time. Keep your weight forward in your toes. If the weight's back in the heels, it's going to be a lot of pressure on the back. It's going to be a lot harder on the spine to do this. We want to feel this in the legs. We're working to strengthen our legs and alleviate the lower back. Next time you're folded, stay there. And you can keep going down and release your head again. Have the feet hips width distance apart, and you can measure that by making two fists and placing them between the arches of the feet. If they fit nicely there, that tells you that your feet are hips width distance apart. It's a good estimate anyway. Once you've got it, bring your fingers forward and keep lifting your sitting bones. Keep bending your knees. Keep letting your head go. Your torso stays on your thighs. And I want you to rock gently back and forth on your feet. It's really subtle. So the heels aren't lifting, the toes aren't lifting. It's much more subtle than that. Next time you're rocked forward, stay there. You shouldn't be heavy in your hands, but your hands act as a boundary so you don't tip too far forward. Bend your knees more, take the palms flat to the floor and start to walk your feet back for downward facing dog. Hips rise, you look forward. You're still folded at the front of your hips. Come on down to the knees and take a seat. You can grab your blanket to sit up on again. We're going to use it seated here, and then we'll use it at the very end in a different way for our final pose. So sit up on your folded blanket. You can sit more towards the front edge of your blanket and have both knees bent in front of you. We're going to then extend one leg out straight and then rebend it. So we're using the strength in the legs. Do it on the other side. One leg goes, the opposite leg goes out straight, and then rebend it. Now take both knees wide and pick them back up. Straighten both legs, one at a time. And now at the same time, bend both, take them both out. Same time, lift the knees, stretch the legs out. Last time on the right side, bend the right knee. This time we're gonna let it go out to the right. So the right knee just angles out to the right side. Have a bend in your left knee. Let me scoot back so you can see I'm on the back of my heel with my left knee bent. Toes are pointed up towards the ceiling. I'm going to turn my torso slightly so I'm aiming over my left leg, and I'm going to come forward. And if you're not able to get this move forward, that tells you that you need to sit a little higher. Grab another blanket, or you may need to bend your knee more. Take your hands down to your shin or your ankle, whatever you can reach, and it's fine if you just reach behind the knee too. Your belly moves over your thigh. Eventually, the hands come down. Eventually, they might make it all the way to the feet, but don't rush it. What's more important is that your torso is on your thighs and your elbows are sinking down. You can be looking slightly forward, and maybe you stretch the leg a little straighter, but there still shouldn't be any space between your leg and your belly, your thigh and your belly. Toes are pointed up towards the ceiling. And then by moving your chest forward, rise all the way up. We're gonna switch sides, so see if you can go without your hand. Pick your knee up, stretch your leg out. And then the left leg, no hands, bend your knee, take it out to the side. Then you can readjust it if you want to pull it in a little more comfortably. We're going to bend the right leg, be on the back of the heel, the toes are up towards the ceiling. And then turn your torso, it's just a slight turn, to come over your thigh. Reach the hands down. Let them grab wherever they grab. There's no particular spot. You just go as far as you can comfortably go. Let the elbows sink down. You're looking forward. It's really a move forward with the chest. You don't want to feel like you're falling back. Eventually, you might grab the feet or even stretch the knee a little bit straighter as long as your torso stays on your thigh. Take a breath here. And then by way of moving the chest forward, rise up. No hands, lift the knee, extend the leg out. We're gonna bend both knees again. Have a little space between the feet and the knees. Be on the backs of the heels and find either the pinky toe sides of the feet or the outer ankles or the backs of the knees. Any of those will work. Bring your torso forward over your thighs. And you might find your hands would be more comfortable even lower at this point. Go where they go. Then you can stretch the legs a little straighter if you're feeling like you're ready to, like you want to. It's fine to stay at the starting point too. Eventually the hands will come down to the feet with some practice and repetition, or some people will get it right away. Let your legs support you. So you can look down at this point and feel that your torso is on your thighs and your armpits are moving around your knees because you're holding the outside of the feet or ankles or legs. Look forward, lift your gaze, and rise all the way up. We're going to come into our final pose. So take your blanket out from underneath you. You're going to want to make sure that the blanket's big enough or can be rolled long enough that it will support your whole spine. So you're going to roll your blanket up, a nice tight roll, and it's going to go under your spine. You'll see what I mean. I'm not going to sit on the blanket. I'm going to sit just in front of it. Pull it all the way to my tailbone. Knees are bent. and then I'll lay back over the blanket. And of course, if the blanket's not long enough, the head's going to be falling off, and that will not be as comfortable or as conducive to opening up the chest and the upper back. So make sure your blanket is long enough. Take your arms out to their own side. So we want to open the chest, and the blanket really helps with that. But we also want to open the upper back. So imagine somebody lifts your right arm and pulls it a little further to the right side. And then somebody takes your left arm and pulls it a little further left before you release them all the way down. So that you're moving the shoulder blades away from the spine and creating more space in the back, in the upper back. Keep the knees bent for now. Do any other adjusting that you need to. If your head isn't comfortable here and you need to tuck the blanket under to make a little pillow, that's fine. You can create that pillow. But I would say only do the pillow if you feel like you need to. If it's uncomfortable without the pillow, then add the pillow in. Otherwise, we want to practice releasing the head back. You can stay here the whole time with bent knees, or you might like to try extending the legs out straight. If you do that, keep the toes pointed up towards the ceiling. You'll feel an engagement of the abdominal muscles, the transverse abdominis. Might feel like a containment at the front of the hips or an opening at the back or sides of the hips. So toes stay pointed up so that the legs aren't falling out. They're not flopping open. Let yourself go here. So feel the pressure of the blanket on your spine. Feel its support. And let your tension release. So you're sinking into the blanket. You're sinking into the floor. You might swallow a couple times to release tension in the jaw, throat, neck. If at any point you feel discomfort in the lower back with the legs straight, try bending the knees. See if that alleviates it. This is a pose you can really stay in for a long time, so you're welcome to stay here for a while. But it is my time to leave you. So great job today, and I'll see you for part 3.